One day, someone rang the doorbell at Anna's apartment. Anna was at work. Leah opened the door and saw a young officer standing there. "I'm looking for Anna," he said. "Does she live here?" "Oh my God!" Leah cried with delight. "Yes. Uncle Izia, it's me, Leah. Don't you recognize me at all?" "Leah. Is that you?" Izia grabbed Leah with his gigantic hands, picked her up, hugged and held her, and could not let her down for a long time. Tears of joy rolled down the young man's eyes. This young man with gray hair had never cried before. He didn't cry when burying his best friends killed in the war, and nor did he cry after escaping from the burning tank. He didn't cry standing in line at the concentration camp, and he didn't cry when dogs chased him and he didn't have any hope for escape. But for some strange reason, he cried when he held this tiny 12-year-old girl in his arms. "When I saw a hole in the ground at your old house, I thought you were dead," he said, pulling himself together. "Leah. Let me look at you. My God. You've got to be kidding me. You're so big, and so beautiful." Leah turned red, flattered. "Oh. Uncle Izia. Come on in." He entered. "Uncle Izia, we thought you were dead." She cried with happiness. "Grandma. Grandma," she called. "Come here. It's Uncle Izia. He is back." An old woman slowly came out of the room into the corridor. "Mama." He whispered and embraced her into his arms. "My baby." Her thin hands reached to him and cried over again, and her tears slid down her papyrus-like cheeks. "I thought you were dead. I thought I would never hear you say to me, 'You've got to be kidding me.'" Leah mimicked his voice and laughed merrily. "Dead? You've got to be kidding me." He laughed through tears, looking at his mother, who had turned so ashy white and terribly old. "First, I have to marry a pretty girl, make hundreds of babies, and then die. Right, Mom?" She didn't answer, but just nodded. "Hundreds of babies? You've got to be kidding me." "Uncle Izia." Leah hugged him and laughed again. "There are so many things that happened to us while you were at war," she said. Till dusk, Izia was listening to his 12-year-old niece's stories, crying and hugging her, until Anna came home. Then it was his turn to tell his story. There was chaos on the battlefield. The roaring of the tank's engines, the explosions, the smoke, and the fire made it impossible to figure out which direction was west and east. The sun d'Izia appeared above the cloud of smoke. Izia looked through the periscope and saw a German tank right in front of him. The temperature in the cabin was high, and sweat ran from his forehead into his eyes, making it difficult to see. He took aim and fired the tank guns, but his shot missed the target. Damn it, he wiped the perspiration from his face. The enemy tank turned on him and was about to open fire. Izia aimed again and slammed his hand on the lever. A cloud of smoke from the explosion covered the German tank. "I got him, Nick," Izia yelled, turning to his partner. "It's my 13th today." "You're the lucky one, baby." He laughed. "Go to hell, you son of a..." Suddenly, Izia flew off his seat, hit the ceiling, and landed on the tank floor. Nick lay next to him, motionless. Smoke started to fill the tank's cabin. "Nick!" Izia yelled. "Come on, buddy. Get up. Get up." He shook him hard, but it didn't help. Izia checked Nick's pulse. He was alive. It was getting hotter, as if there was an open oven all around. Izia tried to open the ceiling trapdoor, but it was scorching hot and he burned his hands. He covered them with a shirt and opened it, hoping for a bit of fresh air. But instead, he couldn't see the blue sky, only smoke and fire, and the tank started to fill with unbearable smoke. It irritated his eyes and throat terribly. Izia choked, but had little time. He picked up his friend, pushed him up through the opening and out on the burning tank, then pulled himself up through the ceiling trapdoor above and out of the tank. Nick lay motionless on the tank and his clothes were burning. Izia pushed him down to the ground, put the fire out, and pulled him away from the burning tank. Only then did he feel the burning pain on his body that he hadn't felt before, while rescuing his friend. It was a living hell. Explosions, fire, and smoke were everywhere. He was disoriented. Tanks moved around him, and he couldn't recognize if they were Soviet or German, and didn't know where to go. A big explosion tore the ground to pieces right in front of him, throwing him into a ravine and burning his face. His mouth suddenly got filled with small hot rocks, and he couldn't breathe. Izia was gasping for air as blood flowed down his throat. He spat the rocks out of his mouth, and to his horror, he saw his own teeth. Shrapnel had gone through his face, from one cheek to the other, kicking out all the molar teeth. Izia tried to get up, but a shocking pain in his leg struck and brought him down again. He crawled deeper into the ravine. It was safer there and easier to breathe. In a few seconds, he was able to regain his calmness and check on his leg. I don't know how I'll walk again with a hole in my leg, he thought. I guess it's not the most important thing for a man. He smiled to himself and touched his lips and inside the mouth. Thank God they're not my front teeth, so I still can impress girls with my smile. He wasn't able to move, so he lay there, waiting for his fate. He didn't know how much time had passed as Nick suddenly appeared above him. Izia, what happened? Are you okay? Izia was relieved to see his friend. He tried to say something, but couldn't move his tongue or lips. Can you walk? Nick asked. Izia pointed at his leg. Nick checked it out. It's not that bad, Izia. The bone wasn't touched. Don't worry, buddy, I'll get you out of here. Lean on me. Then, he pulled Izia on his shoulder, and they walked east, away from the sunset. They heard German voices and single shots and lay down on the ground, trying to be invisible. Germans walked around, looking for the wounded that were still alive. If a soldier was unable to walk, they shot him. If he could, they captured him. They also shot the dead to make sure they were dead. If only I had a gun. Nick was desperate. There was no place to hide, so the Germans found them. They were looking at Izia and Nick, ready to shoot. Aufstehen, the soldier ordered. Izia tried to get up, but the pain in his leg brought him down again. The German aimed his gun at Izia. Don't shoot. Nick stood between the German and Izia. He can walk. He turned to Izia. Come on, man, you can do it. Nick helped Izia up, and they walked together to the west, guarded by the Germans. They walked through the field and the German camp was already visible in front of them. Nick, Izia whispered, leaning on his shoulder. Where's your communist card? In my pocket. Why? You have to get rid of it. Now. They'll shoot you, if they find out that you are a communist. Are you kidding me? I can't. Nick whispered back. Do you want the Russians to shoot me for losing it? Don't be foolish. First, you have to get to the Russians. I guess you are right. Can you reach into my pocket? Izia reached into his friend's pocket, grabbed the card inside it, and fell down. The Germans pointed their gun at Izia, ready to shoot. Schnell. Schnell. Nick helped Izia to get up as Izia dropped the card into the grass, and they all kept walking. Izia and Nick were taken into the concentration camp as Russian prisoners of war. It was an empty field surrounded by barbed wire and guarded by German soldiers with dogs. A German officer checked on the prisoners that were ordered to stand in a straight line. The officer approached every one of them, asking the same questions: name, nationality, and affiliation with the Communist Party. Jews and communists were executed right away. Izia, do not tell them that you are Jewish. Nick whispered. You don't look like a Jew. Izia nodded. You too. Don't be a smartass, don't tell them that you are a communist. The German was standing in front of Nick. Name? Nick. Jude? Neen. Communist? Neen. The officer looked at him for a split second and moved to Izia. Name? Ivan, Izia said. Jude? Neen. Communist? Neen. The officer stared at Izia, studying him for a few seconds that seemed like eternity, and then moved to another prisoner. They were safe for now. The prisoners were sitting or lying on the ground. The sun burned them to the core. Dirty water in a barrel was the only luxury they had. There was a huge pit of dead prisoners' bodies in a corner of the camp. The smell was unbearable. Due to the strong odor, the prisoners couldn't sleep at night. Izia and Nick spent several days in the camp. Izia's leg got better, and he could walk without help. Then, one night, when Izia was trying to move away from the pile of dead bodies, Nick held him. "Stay," he whispered. "You've got to be kidding me. I can't breathe. Look at this, Fritz. He's drowsy." Nick ignored Izia's complaint. "Yes. So what? There are others over there. We can hide inside the pile under the dead bodies. He wouldn't notice. Let's go." "You've got to be kidding me." Izia whispered, but slowly followed his friend. They moved very slowly, inch by inch to the corpses, trying not to disturb the dogs. They lay on the top of the corpses, pretending to be dead, slowly digging inside the pile and covering themselves with the dead bodies. They moved closer to the barbed wire and then between them, using the dead bodies, which protected them from being injured by the wire. It was an exhausting and never-ending task. It felt like it took an eternity to get to the other side of the barbed wire. Izia was about to run, but Nick held him with his iron hand. "SHSH. Dogs," he whispered, but it sounded like thunder in Izia's ears. He froze. The night was dark. The prisoners were sleeping. Some Germans were playing cards, while some others were on guard. The dogs were either sitting or lying down, not disturbed by any noise or motion. "Follow me, very slowly." "No sound," Nick whispered and crawled. They moved away slowly from the camp to the nearby forest, and then they ran. They reached a creek, fell down to their knees, and drank. They were so thirsty that they felt like there was not enough water in the creek to satisfy them. Izia went across the creek, but Nick led him straight, and they kept running through the wetlands. Sunrise suddenly came, and then they heard the Germans yelling and dogs barking. They were being chased. Nick ran, pulling his friend along with him. Izia was limping, but didn't complain, trying his hardest to catch up with his friend. "Nick, they're right behind us. They'll catch us." "No, they won't. Follow me." Nick pointed to a little lake ahead with a lot of reeds in it. They moved closer to the reeds. Nick pulled 2 reeds out. "You can breathe through it," he said and handed one to Izia. "Sit under the water and hold on to the reeds, so that water won't push you to the surface. And don't move, so that the water stays still." Then, Izia appeared under the water. "You've got to be kidding me." Izia mumbled, but did the same. The very next moment, they were watching the Germans and their dogs' shadows from under the water. God knows how much time they were sitting there, but the Germans finally left. "How do you know all this stuff?" Izia asked his friend after coming up to the surface. "Know what?" This," Nick laughed. "My father was a hunter. He taught me." "Uncle Izia, did you go back to your battalion?" Leah asked. "You've got to be kidding me." Izia laughed and added. "No, sweetheart. It was not possible. There was no public transportation there to take a tram from the forest to my battalion, but we fought Germans anyway. We found the guerrillas and stayed with them until the end of the war." "Why didn't you come home earlier, then?" Anna asked. "Mom is very sick." "You are lucky she is still alive." "I would, if I found you earlier. I didn't know if you had enough time to evacuate. I was told that all the Jews were murdered. I was looking for you all over the place, having very little hope. And I'm so glad that I found you. I'm so happy." He hugged his sister tight and cried again.